This company has, let me clarify, this is what we call one of those that will probably fall into the startup model. He probably went into an accelerator. I haven't read his story. He's excellent in the sense, and I'll give Jack his jacket, he has multiple streams of revenue.
I think so, yes.
He has the kiosk.
And let me correct myself what you said to me before, and you're absolutely right. I don't mean that he's taking money from the car company. I'm sure that they're included him in their revenue model.
Yeah.
And, it's beneficial to him because he has no upfront costs.
But
It's
that's
a
the
win-win
way,
situation.
that's the way, when I say to people, that's how we need to shift our business
I agree.
strategy.
I
That
agree.
you know, now we're working with each designer. How much is it going to be for this bag? I'm reselling it. I'm going to give you the fabric. I like the cut. Most designers look at me, well, why would I do that? And I'm like, I am paying you. You're guaranteed. I will do the selling and everything. What's the problem? Their ego gets in the hand.
Right.
And so he's a business person, not an artist.
Right.
Which is,
He really is.
He really is a business person. Then he has the kiosk. Now we're also looking at his supplies and everything. Tailoring is a dying trade.
Mm-hmm.
So at every level, he is bringing demand for products that are having issues right now.
Well, he's also delivering product to a group of people that don't understand the language.
Yes, and don't understand
And
the
that's-
product.
quality.
I think that that's very, very keen because let's say a 40-year-old man is probably going to have some idea of what it is to have a nice tailored suit versus maybe a 20-something-year-old.
But so let's
and
look
that's
at that.
probably his market.
Right. So he has foregone consumer education. And instead of foregoing consumer education, he's, in essence, giving the consumer a product that is not the best quality, telling them it's the best quality. The long term, this is where I'm upset.
Right.
Because I'm seeing this right across the board in fashion and in a lot of the trades and the crafts.
Mm-hmm.
Because and especially in America, the English are doing it differently.
Mm-hmm.
The English are shoring up their quality
Absolutely.
from the school right now.
Always have.
But because we're not doing that here, we're going to be the laughing stock of most of these. We're going to lose in the long run.
Bonnie,
We're losing faith every which way.
But value.
but
Yeah.
Bonnie, just look at what we just came out of starting in 2008 with this really it's a mini depression that we were in. It really is, and I could understand that and speak to it because that's my milieu. It was really people going backwards on their standards in terms of loans. There's a reason why we have certain criteria and benchmarks that you have to meet in order to qualify
Quality control.
for a house or to buy a building, to buy anything. And that was severely lacking and relaxed. And look at the outcome. We caught a cold, and it made the entire world sick.
Well, this is happening along the
entire
line.
world.
So because of these, I was discussing with someone and said, well, here's the thing. Returns from online sales have gone up from 10% to 20% in fashion.
Yeah.
That's because of this, because you can show a picture that's edited in Photoshop, and when the person gets it, it doesn't
Yeah.
fit that way.
Yeah.
They're either going to throw it out
Right.
or they're going to send it back. But even either case, they're not going to come back to you.
And to any maybe online vendor, or at least the hurdle to go to another online vendor is going to be a little bit higher.
We now have to show value, and our outspend in marketing and consumer education becomes high. So here's this young man, and he's not the only one. There are about 5 or 6. And when I see people, because I've been writing on
No
fashion
fashion background.
yeah, and people say, but you're being negative. I said, no. I said, this is not solving the problem. They have no fashion background. They did not partner with a person with fashion
Right,
background.
right.
They have the tech background, but an app
Right.
doesn't. I
If
don't
Tom
wear an
Ford
app.
is your partner.
Fine.
That's a whole different story.
Absolutely.
And the apps and the technology are needed, but I don't, in the end, he has an app. You can punch in
Absolutely.
some measurements.
And that is what's going to attract the VC
right.
to him.
That's the VCs are going to go for that, but in the end, I don't wear an app. I don't wear a Photoshop image. In the end, you are supplying apparel,
Yeah.
not even fashion.
But even the Photoshop images that I'm seeing aren't edited properly.
But
They're not fitting right.
but you
Because
and
they're
I,
Photoshop. They're
but-
just some nice looking guy in a
But
So-
what you're missing, Lawrence, is that you and I know what a good fit is. And people look at me and say, "You're so negative." I said, no.
No.
The worst thing is
Yeah.
when I see a guy who tells me he's doing well and his suit is just poor.
Right.
It just tells me
Somebody
you-
with poor shoes.
Something's wrong.
Something's
missing.
not
wrong.
right.
And
Something's not right.
so what we have to then say is, where does this go? The guy from GrubHub said, he says, when the customer eventually becomes wise to being duped,
Absolutely.
and then they become resentful.
Isn't that how the dating process goes? You
Yes.
get burned, and then the next person, you have a little bit more of a list in sense of what you want people to be. That's how we learn.
And I
we
mean,
don't
I
get
forgot
burned.
the article I was reading, the guy in GrubHub speaking about DoorDash and Postmates. And there was another article that said, a lot of these companies now are playing tech startup, like my sister and I played. It was a Medium. Medium has the best articles. It was a Medium article, and he says people now play startup like my sister and I played shop or store as kids.
Fashion plates.
Yes, and that's what's going on. And so the reason is here is this. I saw another one about the Ralph Lauren smart mirrors. And I said, well, they're nothing more. Smart mirrors are really nothing more than an iPad. You could have given your customer an app. It would have been cheaper.
The stores have had these in Europe already for, 2 years now?
Right. But it's all about PR and about leveraging PR. Because really and truly, there is no technology right now that you can put on the clothes and the clothes fit you exactly like it is. And I will dare anyone to come and tell me that and bring their suit and let Lawrence and I make a suit and fit it because you're lying. Okay? The technology, and I have been one of those pushing. I started Fashion Camp, which was the first fashion tech conference in 2009. I've been speaking fashion and tech since 2006 in New York Tech. So when, ain't no pretense here. So when you tell me that I scan something 3D, and then you lay it out and cut it, Lawrence and I will both understand, even when we have your measurements and we do it, we've got to fit that on you,
Yeah.
alter it.
Yeah.
Once we get that done fine, we could use that final pattern over and over again. No one has figured that out yet. And then every time you come in, we have to retest because the human body loses and gains.
Changes.
Okay?
A man's body's easier because we're more consistent. We are on a 6-month
Right.
cycle. You're on a 1-month cycle.
Right.
And with a woman, there are all these curves and planes.
Yeah, and the measurements do change up to 3 inches.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that when you walk in, you may look all right, but one breast is a little smaller than the other.
Or in lower, higher.
Or lower, higher.
How
It's,
did you know?
God, can't you see that?
Because we know the bodies. Lawrence will probably say that we've discovered scoliosis more in women than even their doctors.
Wow.
I can measure a man and tell you what injuries he's had.
Okay, so the problem, and I'm all for the tech way of doing things. Solve the problem to make the money, but don't lie about it.
Right.
And a lot of that is going on now.
Because you lie, and 48 people after you pay the price.
Right. Right.
And the tech.
The one guy who hurts you, everybody else pays the price.
And here's the
other
thing:
guys after that.
the people who could really help enough. I don't know if you've heard of Wright and Langley, the Wright brothers.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Wright had
story the
no
other day.
support. Wright had no funding. Langley was a professor, I believe, at Yale or one of those schools. Had the press behind him. He had tons of funding. He was solving the wrong problem.
Wow.
He didn't even know the problem. Wright and they went out each day without support. They were bicycle builders. And they eventually solved the right problem. But without what would have happened had they had press and had they had support way before? But this attitude, which is centuries old, of supporting, of access, and supporting those we know and are of our clique, which is what diversity really is. It's not even race. In tech, if you know the person, you went to school with them, they know someone, that's who's ruling now. And in the end, that's affecting progress.
Other people's access to
There's
that club.
You've heard some of what these young people have, the women we have. didn't even know they had those problems, but it
Right.
made sense once they said it, what
Right.
the problem was.
Right.
And if we got tech people together with
Those-
real people,
Absolutely.
Certain problems would have been.
would really be solved.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm about diversity. I'm not about diversity in terms of race or sex.
Right.
I'm diversity about diversity in the room. So we have someone who's understanding the technology, who understands the niche, who understands the business, who is a hustler, so that all the components come together and so better serve humanity. The rest is just bull. And in 2 or 3 years,
That's so
as in
true.
most companies, they will phase out. I don't care. Home Joy,
That's true.
40,000 phased out because she couldn't figure out how to pay workers on 40 million. Sorry, 40 million. Couldn't figure out how to pay workers on 40 million. I have a person who does cleaning who can do that on less, or not, 4,000. But we can't get these people together. So this is, I mean, about...
And this particular business, just to piggyback off what you're saying, it wasn't born out of, to me, necessarily solving a problem. It's solving maybe his problem of wanting to start a business that is going
Wants
to be
to solve a problem.
attracted to, no, that's going to be somewhat attractive to the money that's going
That's
to be able
the-
to pay out, because
you
that's
go-
where the money stream is. It's in the B2B and it's in the app, and that's going to get all the look and the eyes, and the real person who's going to be out there selling the suits or the person
Half
who buys
of
that
the-
kiosk or franchise.
Half of the people who are now starting startups are not passionate about what they're doing.
No, they're passionate
They're
about the
getting-
startup.
and they're not even passionate about business. There are people who are passionate about a business and will learn. They're passionate about the venture capital money.
Right.
When you're in the room at a hack, they literally say, okay, what problem can we solve? There's no, I care
Meanwhile,
about...
it's the other way around that most inventions get.
I know
up
this
and running.
problem,
Yeah.
this needs... It's like, what problem can we solve? Well, no, that won't work. That one, they won't go for that. That was already done. They'll go for this one more.
How about peace on earth?
If they could, they would. And
And monetize it.
if they could, they would. But that, until that attitude, and it's the investment money that has caused that.
Yeah.
Because these guys don't need to proof of concept.
No.
They get the money
They're
to
just
prove
by
their
pitching.
concept.
So they just learn how to pitch and they
And the
get money.
people judging the pitch, they don't, okay, they're having a fashion pitch. That's when I was done with hacks. I was at the Hearst pitch. And it was fashion media, as
Yeah.
opposed
Hearst
to Guild,
Communications?
which was, fashion. And Hearst was a fashion media hack. And the person pitching that very same app had been featured, I think, in Mashables or one of them a few months before. But the people judging were not of the industry, did not follow the niche, knew nothing. Just recently, I saw pictures, and the person selected was literally some of the people. One of them was a copy of Glam Squad.
Oh yeah, that was.
We're not going
A
to call it.
copy?
It was a copy
Yeah.
of Glam Squad. But that's what they had seen, and the people judging the pitch were about what was trendy.
Right.
When you're judging,
Meanwhile, they weren't from the industry that would have known.
they wanted to
That's
get
Glam
into
Squad.
a lot of people want to get into the money.
Right.
And it's not a case of, even if I don't know an industry, I can ask you key questions and get your BS, which is what you guys know about me. You either know what you're doing, and if you don't, what research are you doing to figure out what you're...
What you don't know.
What you don't know. As you said to me, I know what I know is needed, but I don't know the question. Then you've got to tell me
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
it will leave an impact.
Yeah.
So then you will know what the question is.
Yeah.
So there are ways...
Because I just know that this is something I've always wanted to do. And when I think about it, I think about doing it. I'm not thinking about, well, how much money can I get for it? And I'm not saying that you don't have to think at some point of monetizing it. I'm just saying that isn't my...
That's not your drive.
That's not the drive. You
But,
know what I
but
mean?
what is the challenge is you know exactly the impact doing it will have.
Absolutely.
That you've always been sure.
Absolutely.
What you haven't been able to clarify is what, because you know what the need is,
Yeah.
but you don't know how to phrase it.
Yeah.
And that you have to start with impact and then why the impact is necessary. So there are ways to get around this, and this is what we're speaking about in terms of our community. Anyway, thank you. We're going to get more into these because we'll be doing, because I think I want to start doing reviews of tech
Sure.
companies.
I think
Yes.
we should.
And
I think this was a good example.
Right,
tonight.
and so this is,
And we're not breaking this young man down.
No.
Kudos to him. He's smart. This is not someone who appears to have a fashion background. It sounds like he has more of a computer background.
he's a computer and he's
but
one
he's
of the,
smart.
Yeah, he's going to make money.
I think he will. He's already making money.
Right.
The company's 2.5
The
years
challenge,
old.
though, is that we want people to think of what the opportunities are for them and be
Absolutely.
able to break down what they're seeing and why
Absolutely.
they don't want to do
Absolutely.
it that way.
Absolutely. Just
'Cause there are
imagine.
how many
Just
chicken
imagine.
joints are
Just
there?
imagine if this
And
is
new
your
one
gifting.
opens and they make money.
Just
And they make
imagine
money.
if this is your gifting in the sense of being a tailor like yourself and what you can actually do and bring to those who want it so that it stays around.
And the other thing is, for those who are seeing something and saying
It's
it's become
consistent.
impossible, stop following the crowd.
Right,
Go for what you see find the issues.
right.
Because the crowd is on that wrong part. Find the real challenges that need to be plugged. In 2-3 years, this company is going to be washed out. Or you'll have a
Absolutely.
lot of people on it because we are creatures of habit
Right.
who are not happy. And this is the Conways. This is the Conways of suits. This is not high-end suits. This is the Conways of suits. He is making about a 300 or 400% profit on these
Absolutely.
suits. The qualities, he needs better photography or better suits.
I think probably both. I think
Okay,
probably both.
but-
I could see this being bought out by somebody who's legitimate because he's already built up a certain database.
And then they plug in their garments.
Absolutely.
He now needs to hire a real tailor.
Absolutely.
He needs to hire a tailor, someone who understands
But if
tailoring.
that's not what you're after,
He's out after his exit strategy.
absolutely, because
looking
believe
to-
me, I'm going to tell you, because I've worked with franchises, he would rather the person who, or people who, the audience that was able to view that tonight on ABC, New York, he would rather more people sign up as a franchisee
Than the
And the
customer.
customer.
than as a customer.
Well, that's
buying a suit. Who cares if you buy a $400 suit or 2 shirts for what, $99?
Yeah, no.
But if you buy a franchise for, let's say, $5,000 or $10,000, then
That's his-
4
well,
or
that's-
5 more people
That's
buy.
where he's going now.
That's where he's going to make the money.
Before he can exit out, he needs to get both franchisees and users.
Absolutely.
And that's, it may, 5 million may sound like a lot, but it's not.
Not in fashion.
Not in fashion. And he has a complicated supply chain. Because it's not just from supplier to whatever.
No,
It's-
Thailand, but the fabric's not made in Thailand.
Well,
The
you're
buttons-
you're actually looking at the actual products. I'm still in the B2B area
Yeah, you're-
with him supplying these cards and getting all these
She's
cards
looking at the
around.
numbers.
Yeah.
No, I am, because if he's getting money on the back end for every smart card that he puts out there
And
and
every
the
kiosk.
forget it. I
But
mean,
you're supposed
that's
to.
the money.
That's business.
That's where the chunk, most of his
Here's the
money is
thing.
coming from. It's not coming from, I think a decent amount is coming from the suit. But at the end of the day, you still have to perform and give somebody a suit.
But-
What if they don't like it? What if they return it? But the car
Kiosk is
company
paid.
and the kiosk is paid, and the car company's like,
Yasmin, let's split and come back and speak about
Yeah.
where business is at, because I think that's key.
okay.
Many of us who do fashion don't understand business. And he is not
understands
about the
business.
He understands
and
business.
that's what I'm like, wow, this guy is like,
Yeah, you're
gets it.
salivating.
And what I'm saying is most people don't see that.
We'll come
Most
back-
people
we'll
are
come-
talking about the suits, and I'm like, it ain't about the suits, it's
We're
about
go-
the car.
No, we get you. So we'll come back.
Okay, thank you.
Should I sit this one out?
No. No shit.